Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome to the Qualtrics workshop today. The learning objectives of today, there are 4 of them. Before going into Qualtrics, I would like to discuss when it's an appropriate time to use online survey. You don't want to just use Qualtrics surveys for its sake. You want to decide what kind of questions you need answers from, and then you decide whether online survey, such as using Qualtrics, is appropriate or not. Then I want to clarify using Qualtrics through KSTATE account, how to utilize Qualtrics platform to create surveys, and how to use Qualtrics platform to obtain survey results. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat box or unmute yourself. When should you use online survey? What is the particular question you want answer for? For example, if you are wanting some questions, you have questions about the community needs that are for large population, and you think a quick survey, quantitatively, you think that will answer your questions, then you probably can use online survey. But if you want something more in-depth, so if you have, for example, and this is just example, if you really want to know your class participants or some of the clients that you really want to get to know, then maybe virtual Zoom or phone interview is more appropriate. It really depends on the question that you want answer for. Before thinking or before just straight jumping into online survey, you want to think about, is there another way to obtain the answers? For example, focus groups, interviews, sometimes paper surveys, telephone surveys are appropriate. Is this the most effective way of getting answers? Now, do you have good internet access? Some of you are going back to the office, some of you are not. You shouldn't need to have really large amount of internet access, which means like you don't have to have like a high-speed internet for accessing Qualtrics, I think. Now, thinking about the questions that you want answer from, and think about your survey respondents. So survey respondents are people like, if you want to know your program participants, are they satisfied with your program? Do they have good internet access? Because online survey, you either send them the survey link through email or social media. Given with COVID-19, it might be hard to do paper survey, so online survey might be a good idea. I want to plug in something here for SnapApp program. We will use the pairs online survey instead of Qualtrics. For Qualtrics survey, it would be something out of this, something to evaluate something out of SnapApp program. Now, there is an offline option for using Qualtrics survey. This is not covered in today's workshop. Please contact me for using the option. The offline option means that when you are gathering the data, you don't have to be online. There's more nuances on that, and that's why it's not covered, because today it's more about basic level Qualtrics. Next, some of the scenarios that I think you might use for online survey, and these are just examples. For SnapApp program, anytime you want to send out a survey, please ask your SnapApp regional specialist first. They are good resources. They will give you a lot of input on if this is a good timing or is it good survey questions or not. So these are some scenarios that you can use online survey. I think for Douglas County, they have gathered some partner organizations opening hours in COVID-19. Since it is this is an unprecedented time, they were trying to create resource lists. So they have the email of the organization so they can ask about their opening hours and also services they provide. If you have a lot of partner organizations, you can send out online surveys about collecting the services and opening hours. Next is about gathering the SNAP eligible clients' need in COVID-19. If you have SNAP recipients' email address, that's fantastic that you can send out the online survey. The response rate, which means how many people will take your survey, it's not a lot. Probably it's like 40% of the SNAP clients would respond to you, but it's still a good size of population if you have a lot of SNAP eligible clients in your local extension unit. I know more of you who won't have email addresses, so then online survey would not be a good choice, but you can send online survey to your partner organization and ask about the needs of those SNAP recipients. Or you can do telephone survey. If you have the class participants' email and you can gather the time and date that they prefer in general. So one other example is about PSC. Survey community members and our students about which healthy concession snacks and beverages they would be most likely to purchase at a concession stand. Now, of course, I think most of you will not have sports starting in school. I don't know, maybe some of your schools are. And this is about PSC, asking the community if you are thinking of changing the foods and beverages in concession stands, what are some of the healthier snacks and beverages that they would prefer? See, in the school settings, I think most students have emails, so you can definitely send them out. And it's a mass population. For community members, if you can get email address from the community members or from your partners, and you get permission to ask to send email to those partners or those community members, definitely this is a good way to gather information from a lot of people. There are more examples of things you can use for online survey. I encourage you to think about it because further down in this workshop, I would like your feedback on some of the things that you might use Qualtrics for. Now that you have decided online survey using Qualtrics is a very good idea, and you have checked with your SNAP-Ed regional specialist for SNAP-Ed staff that you can create a survey. You want to keep the survey questions readability to 6th grade or below. We have our clients are slow income clients. Most likely the reading level is not as high. You want to keep the question very, very simple. The survey should be as accessible as and inclusive as possible. I have a link for that. I actually am going to teach you how to check accessibility in Qualtrics. When I talk about accessibility, it means that imagine a person with low vision or they cannot read because they're blind. They can use the computer to ask the computer to actually read for them. There are some things that you need to consider, which I will talk about in the workshop. Now, if you're using this survey for research purposes with publishing intent, which means if you're doing this survey and you're planning to share the results in a conference or in a journal, you have to contact me and your SNAP-Ed regional specialist as soon as possible. There are a lot of applications. You need to fill out the forms before you can give out the surveys because you're trying to publish a survey. Now, if you are using this survey only for your program purposes, that's totally fine. You don't have to talk to me. Just talk to your SNAP-Ed regional specialist. You don't want to share those results to anyone else. You want to keep the result as fewer people as possible because you always have to treat survey responses as private as possible. Treat it as sensitive information. Even if you don't ask for names, you don't ask for telephone numbers, those survey responses should be kept as private as possible. Moving into this, okay, where's your KSTATE Qualtrics account? The reason I want to stress that you should use KSTATE Qualtrics account, because if you're sending survey on behalf of a KSTATE employee, you should always use KSTATE Qualtrics account. Now you can see here, if you use KSTATE Qualtrics account, it has KSTATE in it. It is survey.kstate.edu in the website link. But if you use your personal account, if you go to Qualtrics, just create an account. The link will be www.qualtrics.com. But if you're using your Qualtrics survey for a job, because of your job, like for your extension program, SNAP or FNET program purposes, you definitely want to check your website link and see, is this KSTATE account? I'm going to stop share and I will show you what I mean by that. Now, if you remember, if I type qualtrics.com, you will come to this website, and then if you click free account, you can create an account by just putting in the email. But this is for your personal. If we go to KSTATE, so let me check this again. If you go to KSTATE survey, you'll come here with the KSTATE University banner, and then you want to access KSTATE survey. Let me put it a bit bigger. You want to access KSTATE survey. Once you click on that, usually it will ask you to put in your login username and password. But I think because I've already logged in, so it will just automatically come here. But just like when you use pairs, sometimes you have to log in through KSTATE. Qualtrics is the same. So remember, use the KSTATE account. And as you can see on the Qualtrics, it doesn't show KSTATE banner, but in the website link, it has KSTATE in it. I would like you to type your comments in Zoom chat. I have 2 questions for you. After this brief introduction of Qualtrics, what are some questions you would like to know from your community? And do you think the Qualtrics is a platform you think will help you get the answers? So some of the comments are trickling in, says that maybe talking to your partners about how comfortable they are planning programming. If you have a lot of organizations, you feel like maybe you want to know a lot of the comfortable level. Again, if you feel like there are some partners you want to talk with one-on-one, then telephone or Zoom would be better than online survey. Kathy said Qualtrics would be a great tool to use within an organization. Chucky said that maybe asking your participants, will the school be most comfortable using Facebook Live or something else? So, all right, right now, I think we're ready to go into the meat of the workshop, which is I'm going to show you how to use Qualtrics.